Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Animac here from Anime Uproar, and welcome to another episode of the One Piece Virgin podcast. Episode, is it 10?
9 or
I
10?
think it's 10.
I think it's 10.
11.
Talking about Alabasta Part 2, chapters 180 to 217. And man, I am very excited. I will be talking about why I think this was the perfect arc, Alabasta. And there's so much to talk about. I'm super excited. Joining us today, along with Nux and Briggs.
Nux and Briggs!
See, I have to pause after I said that. Yeah. We have our boy, Simeon Jimmy, back again by popular demand.
Nux and Briggs! Boys, I gotta say, I was on this podcast 2 weeks ago. I've been doing this YouTube thing many years, been on lots of shows. No comment section has been as kind or wonderful to me as the one you guys have garnered here on YouTube. Gotta say, you're doing a great show here. You got great fans, and I can't wait to see you guys sail all the way to Raft Tail, whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, that's how you say it. Yo, it's great to have you back, man. I think all of our subscribers are able to see how much you love this series and see how passionate you are about it. So they feed off that. So it's great to have you back, bro.
You're awesome. Thanks so much for joining.
Hey, thank you for having me.
All right, let me quickly say.
Excited. You can tell Animac's excited because his intro had so much passion. His voice was shaking with passion. So
Yes.
I'll try my hardest not to interrupt too much, but I will interrupt some. Don't worry.
Nux was saying earlier, he's like, okay, I'm just not gonna interrupt Animac. I'm only gonna interrupt Briggs and Jimmy so people don't get upset. All right. So next week, I gotta assign your homework, boys. We just finished the Alabasta saga. We're gonna talk about it this episode, but for next week, we're starting the Jaya arc, which is the beginning of the Sky Island saga, and it covers chapters 218 through 236. Or if you want to watch the anime, it covers episodes 144 through 152.
Bro, we're already at over 200 chapters. I'm over 200 chapters in One Piece. Like, that's crazy.
Yo,
you know how many years I've procrastinated to do this?
Most shows you'd probably be done by now.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah, for sure.
That's crazy.
You're barely a virgin
even
anymore.
Getting started.
Yeah, I
Oh,
know.
but I love it.
This is like, honestly, this is, in my opinion, the end of this saga is when One Piece just starts taking off. Every arc afterwards is just so fire.
I feel like
Yeah,
you
and-
really start getting the taste for One Piece right now. Until now, you didn't actually have like a whole story. Because in all honesty, the Alabasta saga is an entire tale from any other, fictional fantasy, whatever. Like, you're getting a full story from the beginning to the end with the Alabasta saga, and it's only a tiny piece in the puzzle of One Piece.
Yes, and I honestly, this arc, I'll tell you why I think it's like the perfect arc. It had everything. It had great world building, great mysterious characters with unknown motives like Nico Robin, awesome fights that actually included strategy. Even Luffy was using strategy. I fucking love it, man.
Yeah.
And then that whole explosion timer thing at the palace added like a real sense of urgency to the climax. So man, I thought it was just really dope.
This is one of the first times we get to see all the Straw Hats fight different opponents. And everyone gets their time to shine. It's amazing. Honestly, this climax of the saga is so well done and really lets all the Straw Hats shine.
Yeah, I didn't want to
overhype it or anything, but Water 7 and Marineford both absolutely top this a million times, so I'm so excited.
Jimmy,
I don't know. We'll see, because like I said, I really like this. And even the end of this arc, like I thought, okay, so after the whole big battle, the arc is over. But then even the very end gave us some deep feels, man, and a twist at the end. So I was like, bro, it just doesn't end. The hype doesn't end.
It's crazy. I remember when I first watched the Alabasta. I was still watching the anime when I watched Alabasta, and I finished it. I'm like, all right, One Piece is never gonna top this.
boy,
And
were you
falser
wrong.
words were never spoken. So take it away, One Piece Virgin. Tell us from beginning to end, why is this the perfect arc?
Yeah, so, I mean, I have a ton of notes. I have like 2 pages of notes, single-spaced, because there was so much I loved about it. The first thing that I'd like to talk about, though, is let's talk a bit about Nico Robin, because this chick is very mysterious. As we talked about before, she's a mystery even to Crocodile. She saved Luffy at the beginning of this second part of the arc. She actually saves Luffy's life after Crocodile leaves him for dead in the desert, in that whirlpool or sand trap thing. And then she mentions those who are named D, including Monkey D. Luffy. So I thought that was interesting. I'm sure that has significance. Yeah, so I thought that was really interesting. I'm sure it has significance. And throughout this arc, Nico Robin has been a very interesting, kind of mysterious character. We learn later on that she's the only one that's able to read those ancient poneglyphs, which is like an ancient writing, kind of like hieroglyphics in ancient Egypt. And so Crocodile needed her for that. And then that's why he didn't kill her and all that type of stuff. And then she ends up reading those in Alabasta. But I have a feeling that she didn't say exactly what they said.
Oh, she definitely lied. I feel like we don't know
Yeah.
100%, but like they.
Yeah, I feel.
Yeah, she's like,
she
oh,
said,
it only
this
contains history.
Yeah, she was like, oh, this king and that king replaced this king. And then Crocodile's like, okay, well, then I'll kill you. But I feel like she definitely had some stuff up her sleeve. And the fact that she rescued Luffy tells me that she wasn't with Crocodile the entire time. The entire time she had her own motives. I'm guessing they were related to finding these poneglyphs. And that is why I'm certain that the information contained on them was something that she was after, much more important than just, oh, this king ruled in this time and then he was replaced by this guy, and etc.
The reason why Robin is like a very layered character, and you don't really get to understand her until much later in the story, and I'm not going to spoil anything, never fear, but she was willing to work with Crocodile's people to get to this point, to read this poneglyph.
Yes, so
Like-
that's why I'm thinking her motives, we don't know them yet, but they must be something much bigger than, oh, unfortunately, this only said historical stuff. Let's move on.
The history of the One Piece world is basically the main hook that has me obsessed with the manga and the show right now. And these poneglyphs, I'm glad that they get introduced so early on, and I'm glad that you're intrigued by them pretty much immediately, because they intrigue me a lot too. And the secrets that may be revealed on them are one of my most, anticipated reveals of the whole show.
Yeah, and the world building
we
in
know that-
general was great in this arc. I really liked it.
Well, yeah. We know that they were looking for the ancient weapon Pluton, right? I believe that was mentioned.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
that was
well,
Crocodile's whole scheme.
That's
Like
what-
he
right,
meant
that's
he
what
said
Crocodile's
utopia, but he didn't say how he wanted to achieve this utopia. Like if he had Pluton, we just know it's this ancient, incredibly powerful weapon that would give him military might to basically control the world.
yeah, so we'll definitely talk about Crocodile, because I thought he was a great villain. But he wanted to get this ancient weapon that could allegedly one-shot an entire island, and then he wanted to use that to stand up against the world government so they can't force him to do what they want. So he definitely thought things out way ahead and all this type of stuff. And that's why I wonder whether these poneglyphs did actually contain something about the Pluton that she didn't tell him about, or whether they contain something else that Robin is interested in that Crocodile doesn't even know about, but she obviously has some inside information that he doesn't. But we'll have to wait and see. I do want to bring up now Usopp's defense of Luffy after that mole woman was like, Luffy's dead, bro. It's over. I thought it was so heartwarming how he's like, Luffy, he would never die. He would never die to the hands of someone like Crocodile and all this stuff. And then he says, there comes a time when a man's got to fight, and that's when someone makes fun of their friend's dream.
This fight is probably, I don't know if it's my favorite fight in Alabasta, but it's one of my favorites. Usopp is absolutely amazing. We see it time and time again. Usopp is this cowardly character. He's the normal person in comparison to the monster trio with its insane strength. But when it comes time for him to defend his friends, their dreams, he becomes the brave warrior he wants to be, and it's so great, man. That fight as well, he didn't overpower them, he outsmarted them and used his noggin.
Yes,
All right,
and,
all right.
and
But something extremely important that has to be said. Jimmy, please. Usopp's your favorite character. I imagine this is one of your favorite fights in One Piece. Please,
Yeah.
take your word.
When I wanted to prepare for this podcast, the one fight that I went back to watch again was Usopp and Chopper versus baseball whack-a-mole, is what I like to call it. It is not only probably I was going to say favorite Usopp fight, but he's got one coming up. That's all. But
No.
yeah, I love this fight as well because it's basically Usopp, who's a normal human. He's a weakling up against two monsters that have devil fruit powers. He's teamed up with one of the other weakest Straw Hats, Chopper, which Chopper's like a Swiss Army knife. He's got so many different things he can do, but he's still one of the weakest Straw Hats in comparison to Sanji, Zoro, and all them. So Usopp is just fucked. There's nothing he can do to win this fight. And we're seeing, I don't know how the manga shows it, but in the anime, there's lots of X-rays of Usopp's bones as they're being fucking
Yes.
fractured and destroyed. And
Yes.
my favorite joke is that his nose has a bone through it and it breaks in like 4 places.
Dude, I think Usopp took like some of the most damage out of all the Straw Hats.
Oh, absolutely. He takes more damage in this fight than anybody else because what? Zoro? Oh, he cut through iron. Oh, that was really tough for Zoro, huh? Usopp is getting fucking battered literally to death.
Yeah,
It's
we-
crazy.
And the greatest part is Usopp did not lose his sense of humor for one moment in that fight. He's like, all right, time to whack you with my 50-ton hammer.
Yes. Oh yeah, that fake thing.
So
That's the thing, though, it was a moment of comedy relief, but it's also a great tactical strategy for somebody in Usopp's position. He
Yeah, because they're
can't
like,
overpower
how
them.
strong is this guy? They were like, freaking
Right.
out, like, how can he carry something so heavy?
quick shout out to my video today. I made an entire video dedicated to Usopp, and I talk about this moment, and I say it's one of his perfect fights because it kind of combines everything that we love about Usopp. It has the comedy. It shows that he's weak, but despite that, he's able to use strategy and willpower to save his friends to put it all together. It has everything. It's so great.
Also, doesn't he also mention that he has his army of like 10,000 pirates behind him or whatever?
I don't remember
I think
that.
it was 8,000. Not to be the
Oh.
techie here, but I
8,000.
think it was 8,000.
My bad. But he's like, he's ready for this fight, guys. I love that fight so much.
Yeah,
I
and
remember
one
at this point in the story, my first run through, Usopp was my favorite character in One Piece at this point.
and
And
one
it
thing
remained
that I
that way
really
for a
liked.
while.
One thing that I really liked about this is, you know how Luffy and Usopp constantly give each other shit about who's the real captain or who should be the captain, but in this, fight, we really saw how much Usopp actually respects Luffy. Luffy wasn't there, but he really got so angry that they were belittling his captain's dream. So I thought that was a very heartwarming moment.
Yeah, he stands up and says, "Hey, my captain is going to be king of the pirates." So it's such a far cry from in all these comedy relief moments when Usopp says, "Oh, I'm the real captain of the ship," but then when push comes to shove, we see his true colors. That he loves his friend Luffy and he wants him to be the king.
Yeah, and we got to also give credit to Chopper. Both Chopper and Usopp did some amazing teamwork here to get to win this fight, and that's what I like to see. I don't like to see fights where just you overpower them because of the power of friendship or whatever. I like to see teamwork and strategy, and this arc gave us plenty of that.
As the other one-on-one fights, I think one of the best remembered in the story is in fact Zoro versus whatever that guy's name is.
Mr.
One.
Yeah, but before that, let's talk
I have
about
to say though, Mr.
before
One
that
sucks.
fight though.
I
Nuts.
hate him.
Before that fight, we have to talk about the flamboyant French fight between Sanji and Mr. Bon Clay, or Mr. Two Bon Clay.
Mr. Two.
It had some really stupid moments because like Sanji couldn't kick Nami, but at the same time, it was still an awesome, amazing fight. And I'm biased, and I love Sanji.
What?
And I'm a little biased against the fight because I was rooting for Monclay.
Well,
Kidding.
I can't blame you, Nux, because the
love
clone montage technique was deadly.
Oh, he's amazing. What a graceful swan of a man.
Yeah, so Bon Clay actually is good people. I really like Bon Clay, and I'm happy that he shows up later on in the arc again. And I actually hope that we're going to see him more in the story. I don't know if we will, but I hope we will.
If I could quickly challenge Briggs, you said that some parts of the fight were silly, like when Sanji can't kick Nami, but I would argue that's just character building, because one of Sanji's greatest weaknesses is that he can't fight women, and that becomes like important to the plot in later arcs, right?
It absolutely makes sense in regards to his character, just a little bit annoying. Like being a Sanji fanboy, like I understand it, that's who he is. But like
characters can't be perfect.
I know, but it's obviously not Nami, and he knows it's not Nami, and yet his body still can't fucking kick her. Like it's so dumb but so amazing.
You can't kick a lady no matter what.
That's like gentleman. The go-to One Piece humor. It's everywhere, and I love it. It gives a tang to the whole like story, and I appreciate that. I didn't.
And I thought that the ending of this fight was really, really dope when Sanji wins, but then he extends a hand and congratulates Bon Clay on a good fight, and Bon Clay bursts into tears, and they're like, "Yes, we were on the opposite side this time, but we're boys."
I'll say this: Usopp was my favorite character when I began One Piece, much like Nux. But in a later arc, Mr. 2 might become my favorite character.
Wow!
I'm so happy to hear that. Oh my god!
Okay, so he does come back. Excellent.
He does come back.
Everybody comes back. Everybody.
Yeah. What the fuck? Django comes back into relevance. Man, I do not care about Django at all.
Dude. I don't know how many bits Jormunder just donated, but it's just 200, 200, 200, 200, 200, 200. It's like for a while. Hell yeah, bro. Thank you.
Coming into this, when I was taking notes, I thought to discuss all these fights, since it's the first time all of the Straw Hat Pirates get their own fight. Nami gets her first fight, of course. I thought we should, I wrote down we should tier list the fights and see who has the best fights in this arc. Would you guys be interested in just as a way to structure the discussion of all the fights in this arc?
Sure, but let's talk about the fights first, and then we can tier them.
Yeah.
So, in terms of the Nami fight, I have no idea how her weapon is supposed to work.
Climate
still don't
hack.
know.
Neither
it
does
works
she.
with science, Animac. It's science.
No, I get that it's science, but I was trying to figure it out, and I have no idea. But the fight against Miss Doublefinger was very cool, because, again, it involved a lot of humor, a lot of strategy, and Nami proved again that she is an intelligent female Chad, and Miss Doublefinger's cleavage was just a sight to behold during this fight. Like, sorry, Zoro, but
your
no
cleavage
cigar.
had nothing on that.
Yo, it was just any excuse to have it on screen too, because after Nami defeats her, like it's like, oh shit, my thing's all tangled around her boobs. Like, it was like I watched the movie, and because I actually had never seen the movie before. I've read the manga, I've watched the anime. Oh, let me watch the movie this time around. It'll be a quick way to catch up and refresh myself. And it was just so funny because I feel like it's skipping so much, but it spent a solid like 5 to 10 seconds just like untangling like this. Her Climatax freaking bird thing, just so they can have a shot of her boobs. I'm like, really? That's what you prioritize?
Yes.
Yes.
Like, don't be that guy who thinks fan service isn't cultured because.
I'm not even complaining. I just thought it was funny.
Like I said, Miss Doublefinger is a beautiful woman. Respect. And Nami, man, I really liked her in this fight and in this arc, and I think she's still my favorite Straw Hat. And she's becoming probably my waifu right now, I gotta say. At first, I didn't see her really as a waifu, but the more we get to know her, the more I relate to her. I like her personality. And like I said, as I get more and more accustomed to the character designs in One Piece, I'm getting more and more excited about the chicks. So, you know what? Yeah, Nami... Still my girl.
If you love Nami and you love fan service, you're gonna love post time skip.
Oh,
I heard.
Oh yeah. Yo, One Piece is so weird because like I was in the same boat as Animac. When I would look at screenshots prior to watching the series, I'd always be like, these characters look so weird. But then you watch it and you like it. It's like I didn't like the characters before watching it, but actually watching it, these stupid weird designs are amazing.
Well, you get accustomed to it because I'm sure that when we first started watching anime with these big eyes and the different character designs from Western animation, we were probably like, hey, this is kind of weird. Like, human eyes are not that big. But eventually
especially in Japan, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's the kind of,
coming clean right here. As a kid, I watched Yu-Gi-Oh! And that just jumps you right in. You get all the weird hairstyles, big eyes, slender bodies. Fam, you get all the works when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh!
Taya Gardner, dude, pretty hot.
Okay, except for that.
You don't like Anzu?
I have to say, I feel like, I mean, I watched the 4 Kids, man. Like, censored everything.
I think that's the first manga I read as a kid was Yu-Gi-Oh. So I got all the fucked up shit immediately.
I think it's weird that I always liked Pegasus the most as a character out of anyone in Yu-Gi-Oh.
Nutty boy.
I thought he was so cool that he was this psychopathic but stylish and cultured villain, and then when you get his backstory, you actually see that he's like has a tragic backstory and a reason for why he's doing what he's doing. So I always thought that was very cool as a kid.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Virgin Podcast!
I would be so down. We could watch all the new Yu-Gi-Ohs!
No.
It's a great idea.
The new one's good? I heard after 5Ds you shouldn't watch the anime ever again.
That's kind of what I heard too. But anyway, it's kind of off topic. We didn't talk about the Chad, the lad, the absolute badass Zoro, and his fight against Das Bones, who people say is badass, but I still think he sucks.
Yeah, so that was my next thing, because so the whole thing about this fight is this number 1 guy, right? His name is Mr. 1.
Das Bones.
Yeah. Let's just say Mr. 1. So he has the ability, the devil fruit, that turns his entire body into a sharp, like, steel blade. And every part of his body, so I feel really bad for his girlfriend. And so he is basically steel. And at first, Zoro can't do anything to him because he's steel. But then Zoro talks about this whole thing where it's like, when you learn to have a sword that can cut through nothing, it will be able to cut through everything like steel. And eventually he cuts through him. But I kind of don't know how he managed to cut through him.
Well, you're not supposed to really know how yet. We just know that he kind of he finally ran into an opponent and he had to kind of surpass his limits. And while he was in a traumatized, close to death state, about to be defeated, is when he unlocked the ability to cut through steel.
Scene, bro. That scene where he just stands there, he's waiting for him to come. Oh, nigiri! That was the attack, right?
Yeah,
it was like lying something for me.
I didn't know if I was like missing something, because yes, he ends up cutting through him, but it just kind of happens. It wasn't like, oh, I warmed my blade on a fire and it became stronger or anything like that. It was just kind of.
So the thing about One Piece, like I'm about to mention hockey, and no, it's not a spoiler because everyone heard of hockey at this point. Okay. But
I have heard of it, but I'm not sure what it is.
It's a sport.
So it is a sport that's played in Canada. But
not right
also,
now. Big
not right now, because the world kind of sucks. But aside from that, hockey is like in every different anime you have chakra or mana or some other type of thing. So hockey obviously is different than all of these, but it has similarities. Now, in early One Piece, they don't talk about hockey at all because Luffy doesn't know about it. So we only start actually seeing it when Luffy's introduced to it as well. We're experiencing the growth of the One Piece world through Luffy's eyes. So, like, for example, in the first chapter, when Shanks is, he gets his arm bitten off by the Sea King guy, and then he stares at the Sea King, and the Sea King runs away.
All right, Nux, I don't think we should be going here. I know exactly what you're talking about. I don't know if we should be going here, bro.
Anyway, point is,
I'm just hearing it, but I'm not sure what he's talking about. Anyway, go ahead.
Hockey exists before it's introduced. You just don't know about it, and at this point, you're just like, huh? But it does make sense within the confines of the world.
Adamak kind of heard me and Nux talking about this prior to the podcast because I thought we weren't going to be allowed to talk about it. But to this day, people are still debating or talking about this scene with Zoro and maybe what type of hockey could have been introduced. You see these characters evolve, but we have no idea how they're evolving until way later in the story. And then we get to look back, we're like, wow, that was potentially hockey. This may have been hockey. We don't know for sure, but you get little hints, and it's great.
Okay, I'll trust you. Now, in terms of Crocodile, I just want to say that I think he was a great villain. And that is the thing that this arc has that, let's say, Drum Island doesn't have. Drum Island had cool characters and important moments, and we had a cool character introduced, Chopper, but the villains were not memorable kind of shit. But this arc had everything. It had new cool characters introduced. It had really good villains. It had world building, development, everything. So that's why I really like it. And how Machiavellian Crocodile is just truly impressive. Like, he has his Baroque Works members infiltrating both sides of the conflict just to make sure that they were going to keep instigating it and manipulating the situation at every turn. I thought that was so cool as someone who, likes politics and intrigue and stuff like that in general. I thought that was really cool, and it reflects how a truly Machiavellian leader would have to be to actually succeed.
Yeah, it was so well done.
The 3 fights that Luffy has with Crocodile to see how his strategy evolves from each one.
Well, the first one, there's pretty much no strategy. I'm just going to go kick his ass, and then he gets destroyed by someone way more powerful than him.
Gets hooked and then gets thrown. I think Tech King said it was a sand toilet last episode. Is that how he described it from the 4Kids dub? But I wanted to point out that the way he ends up beating Crocodile, I found very unrealistic. I don't see Luffy using his blood, weaponizing his blood to beat an opponent. That just seems unrealistic to me, and I don't think it foreshadows anything at all.
Well,
What's this sarcasm?
I'm just saying, if Crocodile's in the desert, you would assume at least one of his enemies would have been sweating enough to be able to punch him. That's all I'm saying. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what ends up happening, first, Luffy loses completely and almost gets killed, and the only reason he survives is Nico Robin saves him, right? Then the second fight, Luffy does figure some stuff out, and he does use strategy. Crocodile drains his fluids from his body, but Luffy spits water up in the air, and then after Crocodile leaves, the water comes back down and replenishes him. So that's actually him using strategy, which I thought was a really cool improvement. And then he eventually figures out, if I have water or my blood, which is also liquid, I can actually land shots on this guy because sand gets harder when it's touched by liquids, and that means that I can actually hit him. Now, yeah, having any form of liquids being your weakness is kind of a big weakness, but I did think it was cool.
The liquid, it's not like the liquid actually kills Crocodile. It's just he can't logiify when he's touching liquid.
Yeah, all it lets you do is touch him. That's why, since Luffy, I guess, just soaked his hands in blood and cut his hands all up and stuff, he was able to touch him, but at the end of the day, he still had to be strong enough to kick his ass.
What was Nico Robin's strategy for killing Crocodile? Because she had the little water vial hidden on her, right? What was she trying to do? I don't remember. How did she think she was going to kill him?
We didn't really even get to see it. She just kind of tried to attack, had the flask, and then was shut down real quick. We didn't really get to see what her, if she was going to kind of throw it all on Crocodile or put it on her hands. I don't know.
Yeah, and I feel like her kind of thing was never to defeat Crocodile. It was just to get away after getting what she wants, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't mention that Luffy saves Robin. I know that we're kind of jumping to the end, but you were talking about it earlier with Robin on the poneglyphs, and I thought that was a really good moment because Robin, doesn't she say she wants to die or doesn't even want to live, and then Luffy saves her anyway.
That does not seem like Robin. Saying that she doesn't want to live. I don't
Dude.
Oh, you're killing it today, bro.
I don't remember that.
All I have to say are spoilers. It's so sad. I need to focus on this arc. God damn it.
When did Robin say she doesn't want to live? I don't remember that.
She says something. Maybe I watched the different translation because it changes from the manga to the anime to the movie. But she said something to Luffy, and Luffy saved her anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah, Luffy. So I like that he used strategy. One thing about the fight with Crocodile that I would have liked to see, the one thing I would have changed is just have Luffy get more help from someone else to deal the final blow to Crocodile. Just because Crocodile has been planning this for so many years, he's such an advanced Logia user. He's been honing his Devil Fruit. I feel like that Luffy being still a young upstart, I would have liked to see some teamwork happening to kind of emphasize to Luffy. It's like, yeah, you won, but you still are not that strong. You still got a ways to go. So I would have liked to see more of that, but otherwise, I did like that he lost first twice. He had to use strategy. I feel that was some character development for Luffy.
Remember that there was a huge JoJo reference at the end of this arc?
Not
Smokey!
Smokey.
I don't know. I've seen JoJo, but I don't know what.
Smoker didn't chase Luffy.
Yes, that's true. And I thought that Smoker and Tashigi were really cool characters in this because, like I said before, Marines in general seems to be pretty big douches, but Smoker and Tashigi proved that no, actually Marines can be good and be looking at the greater good and even flaunt the rules if it means doing the right thing. So they helped the Straw Hats clearly, and Tashigi looks damn good without her glasses, I have to say. That was surprising.
Are you guys all familiar with Avatar: The Last Airbender? I assume.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Comparison: Smoker and Zuko. Are they similar characters? Was he the original Prince Zuko, chasing after Luffy episode to episode? Then they sort of friends, kind of, and
honestly, I love Smoker. I remember he was one of my favorite characters at this point as well. But I think that he's nowhere nearly as well written as Zuko.
I'm talking in terms of overall character arc. I'm not saying he's as good. I'm saying sort of the same trajectory of his
balance
relationship.
is so different though between them.
Okay.
Like,
well, you don't get a
between
whole
them and the
backstory with
protagonist.
Smoker, right? Smoker is just kind of chasing, and you kind of get a dynamic between Luffy and Smoker that are similar. But I see the comparison.
Well, in season 1 of Avatar, Zuko was basically one-dimensional, just chasing Aang episode to episode. So that's sort of
must capture the Avatar for my honor.
And there was moments where Zuko let Aang go and stuff like that, right?
Right, yeah.
Or actually
Same
saved him.
thing
Saved
happening
him.
with Smoker. They're like they got each other's backs in certain moments and back and forth. And I just finished the. You guys know where I just finished Punk Hazard, so I've really got lots of Smoker stuff on my mind.
Dude, when Adamak gets to Punk Hazard, he's gonna
my
gonna like a certain character that he said he likes. Okay. Anyway, Adamak, where were we? Sorry for the tangent.
No, yeah, I was just talking about how I liked Tashigi and Smoker in this.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they have a job to do, and counting pirates is a big part of that. But in this arc, they did the right thing, and they were willing to bend the rules for the greater good. And I thought it was very cool. And we got to meet Lady Hina, who is a contender for hottest girl in One Piece right now. Really, really hot.
Who's Lady Hina?
Strong female character.
How whenever he starts talking about like his new One Piece wife, who he just like gets caught up in his thoughts. He's like strong, strong.
No. So there's a difference between me saying who are the hottest girls in One Piece and who are waifu material. Right now, Nami to me is most waifu material. But in terms of hottest, we can't deny Miss Doublefinger, Alvida, post Devil Fruit, and Lady Hina.
Pink hair Marine. I couldn't remember her name. My bad.
You couldn't remember Lady Hina?
Dude, you know how many fucking
bro.
characters and Marines there are in One Piece?
Teching would slap you in your face.
I'm not teching. I'm sorry.
Have we discussed all the fights now? Should we try to rank them and see what's the best fight in this arc? Because I have a contender for number 1, and I think Briggs might agree with me.
Ooh, okay.
Sure.
Okay, number 1, Usopp fight.
Let's go.
Number 2, Sanji and Bon Clay.
I would probably rank Zoro over it, but I think I might appreciate
I
it.
don't even have Zoro third. I went to Luffy and Crocodile.
So
Really?
For me, Luffy and Crocodile.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Luffy and Crocodile.
Luffy and Crocodile's final fight for me is probably second.
I don't know why I always remove the Luffy from the equation. I just kind of when I talk about the best Straw Hats or do a Straw Hat video, I don't even include Luffy. I don't know why. I'll just do all the Straw Hats because they're more comparable. But yeah, I guess for me it would be Usopp, then Luffy, then Zoro, and I feel like I appreciate Zoro's because I can look back more.
Okay.
Nux, what were you saying?
So we're all putting
With you.
Nami at the bottom.
Yeah. I love it because you get to see. Adamak will hear your list in a second. I love it so much because we get to see. This is the first arc that they all get to fight, and you kind of see where they're all at. They're all at different points in their with their abilities, and yet they still have to fight for the greater good and win no matter what, whether it's with strategy or with brute force.
I just posted a link in chat for those of you who want to check out.
Also, Adamak, how would you rank them?
I don't know, man. This is rough, this whole ranking thing, because I liked all of them for different things. Probably to me, the Zoro fight, just because I didn't understand what happened exactly, wouldn't be top, I liked the Nami fight, even though it wasn't as impactful. Like, I don't think Miss Doublefinger is the main villain, but I thought
just
it was.
you wait.
I thought it was cool because it built Nami's character.
Yeah.
But the best fights would probably have to be, to me, it's probably the Usopp and Chopper fight, and then it would be the Luffy fight, and then Sanji and Bon Clay.
Hell yes.
Yeah, I think Sanji's 4 for me. And then Nami.
I'm fully on Team Brigo here.
Let's go, Nuxie boy.
Love to see it, Nux and Briggs.
Another thing in the chat, someone had asked me earlier, I think it was Jara, what I think of Isabella from Promised Neverland, because I am such a MILF slayer, as they put it, not me. And I'm just scared of Isabella, man. She's creepy. Like, yeah, she's a MILF, but she's, that's crazy. That's too far.
One Piece ends up having a big MILF.
Chat, Rita Susana says in the chat, I would like Zoro's fight, but I don't understand him.
Yes, exactly. I did not understand Zoro in this fight.
Yo, the one thing that pissed me off with the fight is, like, Mr. One would attack, maybe you guys should explain to me. Clearly, maybe I don't understand this fight, or Zoro. But Zoro would get attacked, and he would just get, like, cut bare a little bit. Meanwhile, everything behind him would just shatter into pieces. Like, buildings would be cut in half. Like, what?
Honestly, I have an explanation, but the chat will erupt with spoilers again.
I have a bit of a... Actually, never mind.
Sorry. The thing I was gonna say about the whole fights thing, I liked how we had the individual fights in different locations within the capital of Alabasta, around the palace and stuff, but then it all comes together into one big showdown. It's mostly, the big fight is Luffy versus Crocodile, but it keeps cutting back to, everyone in the square trying to stop the massacre of the armies fighting each other, and trying to find the bomb or the explosive and stop it from killing everyone. So I thought it was really well done, where it was cutting between the two, and everyone was involved in some way in that final climax. And just the urgency, the sense of urgency with the timer and stuff really added to the excitement while I was reading.
And Crocodile is big brain. He does not trust anyone or rely on anyone. Like, when he said it to Robin when they were in the tomb or down below. But even with this tower and bomb situation, even though Vivi was able to take out the 2 people that were about to shoot it into the crowd, regardless of those people whatsoever, there was a 2-minute timer. It was still going to go off no matter what, and the radius would have still killed everyone. So those people were pretty much pointless. They were more decoys than anything.
I love Crocodile as a villain. Like, they introduced him as, he's the first big brain, like, villain in One Piece. And I love Crocodile for all that he is.
You're forgetting about Buggy the Clown. Big brain.
Buggy is pretty big brain, but we don't know about that yet. So anyway, as far as the Zoro versus Das Bones fight, in everyone else's fight, they looked at that fight that they were currently in middle of as, like, that's what their focus was on, so therefore that was the big finale. No one was focused on anything past that. Their mind was just on, we're going to win this fight. This is where we're at right now. But Zoro, he regarded the entire fight with Das Bones as a stepping stone to his dream of becoming the greatest swordsman. Like, in all of their fights, they're trying, like, you have, like, inner monologues of how they're trying to think about how are they actually going to defeat their adversary. Zoro the whole time is like, well, it seems I need to put more focus on my training, on my this. And, like, he was focused on himself the whole time, not on his opponent necessarily. I mean, he still threw buildings at him, which I thought was dope. But most of his fight was focused on how can I grow. And I thought that was pretty epic in the Zoro fight as well.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of Zoro's thing, right? He always wants to improve himself and his swordsmanship abilities, and it's a martial art, right? So he's always looking for the next improvement, the next way to improve his skill, because he wants to be the greatest swordsman in the world, right? That's his goal. So it makes complete sense.
Well, like you said, pirate, marine, doesn't matter what Zoro is. At the end of the day, his goal is to become the strongest swordsman or the greatest swordsman in the world. Who he is and what he does, like, while doing that doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and the other thing is that he can't give up. right? Like he can't say, "Oh, this guy's too strong, so I'm gonna run or I'm gonna get help." He's like, "No, if I want to be the strongest, I gotta beat."
You remember his vow to Luffy, and his vow after losing to Mihawk. From this day forward, I will not lose another fight.
Well, and when you think about it, Zoro meets Mihawk and immediately challenges him. So when it comes to somebody like Mr. One, why would he give a shit? Like Zoro challenged Mihawk. Mr. One is nobody.
But real quick, back to the bomb scene that Animac was talking about.
No
I feel so fucking bad for Pell, man. Yeah, it's such a shame that no one understands Zoro. Nux, you should really clear that up.
Every time I hear people talk about Zoro, I can't get, my mind just can't wrap around how no one understands him.
But back to Pell real quick. I feel so bad for this man. The #1 fighter in Alabasta, one shot by Robin. The #1 fighter in Alabasta and then he ended up it was a great moment, but he sacrificed his life and went out with a bang in order to save the kingdom.
Yes. So first of all, Pell definitely has an awesome devil fruit. You know, the falcon devil fruit makes him into a bird. He can like fly on his back. Super dope. And yeah, so his sacrifice, I was gonna say, man, F in the chat, respect. He was a truly valiant warrior. But then at the end of the arc, we kind of got a hint that he might not be dead. Did you guys catch that? Because
what was the hint?
It was his head thing that he wears, right? There was someone who was recovering from some random, kind of clinic in the desert, and he was like, "Thank you for helping me." And then the head thing that he wears, falcon thing, was there. So it was almost like indicating, oh, he might not be dead.
I might be misremembering, but from the anime, I thought they made it explicitly clear that he was alive. Am I wrong?
I mean, remember he was alive.
Like they show him speaking.
So we're not supposed to know.
I don't think it was explicit because you know why? You know why it wasn't explicit? Because it was like a very distant shot of him speaking.
Right. I'm just talking about the anime. I haven't read the manga yet.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
and it was a huge move when it turned out that all along Pell was the leader of the world government. I could not believe that. That twist at the end there, bro.
And that he's 800 years old.
Damn, it was crazy. He carried the entire red line on his back. Okay, fine. Anyway, moving on.
Did anyone else notice that the agents of Baroque Works, who were there to disturb the shit, infiltrated, and were explicitly denying being agents of Baroque Works, literally were wearing shirts that said Baroque on them?
They also had Baroque Work tattoos.
Yeah, did you notice that they're like wearing shirts that says Baroque, and they're like, we're not part of the Baroque Works secret organization.
Be fair, I like to think that this is JoJo logic, right? When they're all walking around in the streets, there is an enemy stand user in the vicinity, but we can't tell who. And then you have like these two guys in ridiculous clothing, like caressing each other's faces, and it's like, if they were really a stand user, would they be doing that? Probably not. And I think it's the same logic with the Baroque Works guys. It's like no one would suspect them if they're wearing Baroque Works shirts, right?
I know what idiot would wear their super secret organization name on their shirt.
Correct.
Like, one other thing that I noticed with the whole Tashigi and Smoker part was that while they are honorable, the world government definitely isn't. And in the end, they make the Marines take credit for defeating Crocodile, rather than giving that credit to who deserves it, which is Luffy and the Straw Hats.
But at the same time, like the Straw Hats, the government would never let the Straw Hats have a good name like that. But at the same time, the Straw Hats don't want that. Like they did it for Vivi. When the second that it was all over, Sanji even says, "Vivi, go give a speech. Like we'll meet you later," type of thing. We're not involved. We're notorious pirates.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's that whole dichotomy between what a pirate is kind of supposed to be in terms of what we think of a pirate and what the Straw Hats are, which is not really that.
I think this is evidence that Oda thematically succeeded where George Lucas failed. There's famous in the text scroll at the beginning of one of the prequels. It says there are heroes on both sides, and in the Star Wars movies, that doesn't make any sense. Why would there be a hero on the Sith? But here in One Piece, there genuinely are heroes and villains on the sides of the pirates, the Marines, the revolutionaries. This show explores how
revolutionaries. There are revolutionaries. I never heard of those.
I thought we talked about this on this show.
No, they've referenced the Revolutionary Army before.
Yeah.
Well, are you talking about the rebels that Crocodile was manipulating?
Yeah.
But my point is, this show, Oda managed to show very clearly that no matter what side you might be on, politically or any different aspect of life, there are always going to be good and bad people in any group, and the world of One Piece proves it.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right with the Star Wars thing. I feel like they don't actually make the Empire compelling enough to the viewer. Like, at no point do they make them actually seem like, oh, maybe they are doing something good. They're always like, well, these are the bad guys and they're against democracy and etc.
Right. But in One Piece, Smoker and Luffy are on opposite sides of the law, but they're both honorable, righteous men.
Yes, correct. What else? Yeah, did anyone else notice that King Cobra encouraged
The type
people
of snake? Nani?
No, he encouraged people to spy on his daughter in the bath. Like, am I crazy or did that actually happen?
I guess so.
think
I don't remember.
Oda messed up by having Luffy perving out over the bathing girls.
So
That seems
he
like a
actually
mistake.
answered that in an interview. He said Luffy just went along with what everyone else's reaction as to seem like part of it.
I had a feeling because I'm pretty sure Luffy's kind of asexual based on a future arc.
Yeah,
We already-
he just
we
knew
already
that was
know
the
that
reaction
he-
he should have and saw Usopp do it, so he did it too.
Okay.
We already know that he's meat sexual.
Like, we should definitely talk about when they parted ways at the end of the arc, though.
Oh, for
Oh
sure.
yeah.
So we now know that Luffy has a new bounty of 100 million,
Yeah, boys!
which is even bigger than Nico Robin's bounty of 79 million.
It's bigger than Crocodile's, which was frozen.
Yeah. So that's a pretty crazy bounty, man. Like, at
I'm
this
glad you're
point,
mentioning it right now, because before we even talk about the end, it would probably be better if I interrupted to talk about bounties. Because the thing about, like, most shonen, when they try to get some sort of power system going, it's like, he has power level is over 9,000! You know, like, they try to give people abstract numbers based on their... In One Piece, it's based on their infamy, on their notoriety, that they get this abstract number that kind of is based on how strong they are, I guess, based on how much of a threat they're viewed as by the world government. So it's not like if you have someone with a million berry bounty fighting a guy with, I don't know, a 20 berry bounty, chances are the guy with a million is going to win. Because, I mean, he's like way more infamous, right? So he's probably
Justice
much
for
stronger.
Chopper. This is bullshit.
Yeah. Well,
Chopper deserves better.
there are other variables at play. It's not just strength. For example, someone who's more ruthless and more terrible of a person who just goes around killing innocent people versus someone like Luffy who really doesn't do that. It does affect your bounty.
Yeah.
At the same time, you have a much, like, right now, the world government's like, wait a second, Crocodile was a Shishibukai.
Mm-hmm.
And Luffy kicked his butt. Uh-oh. Woo, 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 let's get Luffy in here. So all of a sudden, Luffy gets a much higher bounty, and so does everyone in his crew.
And so I know how they gave the what's it called?
Official power system, like power level tier list in One Piece, and I love it.
Yeah, it's great.
Because it's based on the world building, not the generic power level that, oh, if he has 100 and he has 120, 120 is always going to win. That's pretty stupid.
yeah. So I was actually surprised how quickly his bounty grew, but that definitely complicates things for the Straw Hats because they are now going to be very big targets for not only the Marines but also bounty hunters and all sorts of people.
Did we get any other bounties other than Luffy's? I can't remember.
Zoro's 60 million.
60 million, cool.
One in the chat just said, oh, my bounty got lower. Briggs, true fans know what he's talking about.
Do we see the moment when Luffy's bounty photo gets taken when Usopp's in the background? Do we know when that photo was taken? Because I don't remember.
Arlong Park.
Who took the picture?
It was just a Marine that was kind of left over after. Remember that like rat-looking dude?
Vaguely.
Yeah, the guy who screwed over Nami and was working with Arlong. One of like those guys. Like, afterwards, he's like, "Let's get a picture of this guy."
Okay.
And then he even gets mad at the Marine who took it. He's like, "This was the best picture you could get because Luffy's smiling so big."
Yeah. Right up in the camera's face.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about Vivi now and the whole final kind of the at the end of the arc and moment where they part ways.
Did
Because-
you think Vivi would join the crew?
Yeah, so that's the thing. We were left in anticipation and not knowing what would happen because on the one hand, Vivi clearly loves the crew. She misses them as soon as they leave. She loves them, and they say, you can come join us the next day, and all this other stuff. But her whole thing about her character is how much she loves her kingdom. And right now, her kingdom went through a horrible, tumultuous time. They have to rebuild the whole thing. So it actually makes sense for her to prioritize the kingdom and stay to help rebuild it rather than join the crew. But you definitely see how conflicted she was. And I appreciated that. And then that moment when the Straw Hats can't explicitly say that they love her and gonna miss her and all that type of stuff because they don't want her to be considered a sympathizer of outlaws by the Marines, and then they just raise their arms with the X's. I thought that was fucking dope. Deep, man.
It was so good. Honestly, it was so emotional. I teared up a little bit at that goodbye. And as much as I wanted Vivi to join, it makes so much sense with her character. Pardon?
I so
The
didn't want her
chat
to
is
join.
full of X's.
What? I love Vivi, but it was, I don't know why the chat's full of X's.
Oh, X's because that was the mark on their.
Oh,
The mark.
that makes
the mark
sense.
on the arm.
Such a beautiful moment, but it makes so
love
much
that.
sense with her character. Vivi has always been this responsible young adult. Even when she was so young, she didn't cry when Wapol hit her because she knew it could like cause a war, for example. And in this moment, it's like even though she loves the Straw Hats and wants so badly to go on more adventures with them, she puts her kingdom first, like an amazing princess that she is.
Yes, and it makes sense from the perspective of her character because she was already gone for 2 years.
Mhm.
People were like, "Oh, she's finally back. We need to bring this country back together. We need to recover." It makes sense, but yeah, it's definitely sad because obviously the Straw Hats love Vivi. She loves them. Karoo is also a part of the crew, in my opinion. So that was cool. And yeah, it's very heartwarming. So I read the manga, I didn't watch the anime, but even without the music, I felt it, man. I teared up and I felt it.
That's the power of Oda's
felt amazing.
storytelling. He doesn't even need music. He can make you feel it in your heart from reading it in black and white.
Yes. But then, so something I did not see coming, at the very end of the arc, after, first of all, let's talk about how Bond Clay helps the Straw Hats hilariously get away by pretending to be Luffy, and he gets a bunch of randoms, I guess, to pretend to be the rest of the Straw Hats. I thought it was hilarious.
Okay,
And then we see that someone's towed away on the Straw Hat ship, and it's Nico Robin, and she just comes out wearing Nami's clothes, and everyone's like, "What the hell?" It's the chick that was working with Crocodile the whole time, and she's like, "Oh yeah, so I want to join your crew, guy," and that's how the arc ends.
Well, doesn't Luffy immediately just say yes?
No, I don't think it did he?
That
Oh,
might
it
be in the
doesn't-
next chapter. I don't know.
Ah, damn it, sorry.
That wasn't included at all in the movie I just watched. I don't remember, but I do remember he just like instantly like replies. It was great.
And
And-
everybody else gets mad.
So when she initially says it, "I want to join your crew," Luffy's like, "What?" And then that's how it ends.
Oh,
So
shit.
that's good. Yeah.
I don't remember that. Ooh, and I need to read the next chapter. Also,
Yeah.
the real MVP of this arc, Karo Diok, sacrificing his fucking body to save Vivi.
and lad.
I don't know. You breezed over it, Animac, as just another moment of comedy when Bond Clay sacrifices himself to save the Straw Hats, but he's literally getting arrested by the Marines, right? Like that, he's sacrificing his whole future to save Luffy. That is fucked.
Yeah, so I just figured that he's gonna get away somehow because of his ability to just portray, like, pretend to be someone else. The way the moment was portrayed, it seemed like a very humorous moment.
Well, yeah,
But yeah-
it is very funny, but
Because he's a funny freaking dude. I love
Yeah.
Bond Clay.
Yeah, it is. He's a great
Oh.
character, and I think that the friendship,
In the chat
the
said
unlikely
Bond Clay,
friendship,
honorary Straw Hat, and I stand.
the unlikely friendship that developed between the Straw Hats and Bond Clay, I thought was pretty awesome. So I do really respect that, and the fact that he comes back apparently later is very cool to me. I'm looking forward to that. The Swan style, no one fucks with the Swan style. It was funny because in the side notes, someone's like, I studied to the notes to Oda's like, I studied ballet for 10 years and Bond Clay's form is terrible. And then Oda as Bond Clay says, "You don't know anything about my specific way of doing the style." this is my come my way technique and all this
Oh,
type
come
of stuff.
away.
I think Tekking mentioned it last week, but in the 4Kids dub, Bon Clay called his power crazy karate.
Oh yeah, in that like southern accent that he. Yeah, it's funny. No, great. I mean, like I said, the perfect arc, honestly, in terms of it has everything: the world building, the great villains, great characters, character introductions, mysteries, still set up for the future. Because, like as Nuck said, this ties up a lot of things and ends a saga in a way. But again, with Nico Robin, this is a big mystery. She's so mysterious, and now she wants to join the crew. It's like, why? What is she up to? She used Crocodile for something, clearly. Is she gonna use the Straw Hats now for something else? What is her ultimate plan? What about those hieroglyphic things, polyglyphs? So yeah, I loved it.
Did you say Polnareffs?
Polyglyphs. I don't know. It does remind me of Polnareff every time I see that word.
Well, Luffy's always been a great judge of character. Like, he noticed... Like, I feel like he saved her because, one, I don't know if he knows that Robin gave the antidote to save his life, but also, like, it's multiple times... What was it? Like, you could see that she really was using Crocodile, and they weren't, like, close. And she specifically hid, or, well, we're under the impression that she hid evidence from Crocodile. So, like, I don't know, sometimes it may not be perfectly shown, but Luffy could kind of, like, judge people pretty well.
Well, she saved his life.
Yeah.
Pretty explicitly. Like, that's a...
I was going to say, was he unconscious when it happened? Does he know?
He was stuck in the sand pit and she pulled him out, right?
Oh, yeah.
I think he knows.
That was the first time.
He knows, yeah. Yeah, because she
Okay.
talks to him directly and talks about, like, the power of D or whatever that is.
Right.
And so was she the one that gave him the antidote? Because I don't recall that. I just recall that that the king says later, oh, we gave him the antidote.
It was Robin that pulled it out, yes. It was like a hand appeared, I think.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, so then that means that she technically saved his life twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's obviously not gonna be like, oh yeah, you can't join the crew,
Right.
bitch.
I mean, the Straw Hats, they all save each other's lives over and over again, and that's a good way to become initiated. Is just go save one of their lives a couple times. You can join the crew.
Yeah, I mean that's how it goes. I really
You guys
hope
ready
that.
to- Oh,
Sorry,
sorry. Go ahead. I was going to say, you guys ready to be hit with a big piece of One Piece trivia that I have prepared for you based on this
Hell
arc?
yeah.
Okay, cool. I look forward to this challenge. If
Let's
we
see
get
if
it
that-
wrong, Tekking is gonna freak out.
Well, I want to see if any of you can get this right. Last time I was on, I mentioned and this might not have been in the podcast, but I mentioned the PS2 game One Piece Grand Battle. It came out in 2005, so pretty early on into the anime's life cycle, the manga's life cycle. Not too many arcs deep. I think they're at like Long Ring Island arc in 2005. So it's a fighting game, and each of the Straw Hats, you can choose to play as them, and they all get support characters that you can, activate, and they'll appear as an NPC to fight your opponent for like 15 seconds. And each character has, Zoro would have Johnny and Yosuke, his bounty hunter friends.
Yeah.
Usopp's support characters are the Onion, Carrot, the Veggie Pirate.
Oh yeah, the little pirate boys. Yeah.
The newest character you can play as, I think they have Smoker, Crocodile, and Bon Clay. So the game takes place basically in the Alabasta arc. If you had to guess, in the Alabasta arc, based on everything we know, who would Luffy's support character be that you can have help him in fights? Who do you
Robin.
think it would be?
Nico Robin.
Haru D-Uck.
I would-
Nico Robin is a playable character, so she's not a support character.
I would.
okay.
Oh, is Vivi a playable character? I would have guessed Vivi would be supporting Luffy.
Not Vivi. And it's not Ace either.
D-Uck.
The answer,
Kobe?
not Kobe.
That'd be hilarious.
I'm surprised nobody's gonna get it, but I guess I'm also not surprised because it's really stupid. Luffy's only support character is Dugong.
Oh, really? Dugong boys.
The little karate
Yeah.
otters that he fights.
That was so awesome.
And as a kid, I didn't make it that far into the show yet, so I was like, what the fuck is Dugong? Who is this? What is he doing here? Because he's never been introduced as far as I was like, I thought, is he Luffy's friend from childhood? What is this thing? And why is he helping Luffy fight?
Man, they should have came back in like the war or something to help out. Would have been amazing.
Are you talking about those little beaver things?
Yeah. Yeah, Luffy teaches like
That's
karate
Luffy's
too.
support character.
Yeah, those like Alabasta, as I said in the last podcast, has so many useful animals for all sorts of purposes. So that was definitely convenient.
That crab was OP.
Yeah, the crab. You have the camels. You have like supersonic ducks and shit. Not to mention those psychic snails.
All right, boys. Do we want to here? Let me read out what everyone's has to read again. Next week we're doing Jaya, covers 218 through 236. Nux, do you want to read some reviews real quick?
Reviews. Sure.
Review.
According to Animac, to quote him, they're the currency of podcasts. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess.
I guess
The
they're
point is,
important.
if you give us 5-star reviews wherever you watch your podcast, more people are likely to see the podcast and discover it, and obviously share the podcast if you enjoy it, and if you're a One Piece fan, and if you want to get someone else into One Piece, or if you want a One Piece fan to kind of relive it together with us. That would be very cool.
Do you remember any of the cover
First
stories?
review. Sorry.
No, go ahead. I thought you were still
First
searching.
review. Sorry.
Sorry.
Never
Discord sucks,
ready.
man. Go ahead.
First review. Best podcast in the world. 5 stars. Shout out to Crocodile for having the best laugh in One Piece. What was his laugh?
Which character?
Definitely not the best laugh in One Piece. Crocodile.
The best laugh?
Oh, I don't remember it. I don't know. Say who. I'll edit it in.
However.
No, I won't.
10 out of 10. 5 stars. This podcast gave me a Gomu Gomu no boner. Very cool. Next review. Best podcast in Zawado. It's a different one. He spelled Zawado differently, so you know it's a different individual. I look forward to this podcast from the time of its announcement. With the virus going on, it has become something I look forward to listening every week to help the time go by. It's a perfect blend of analysis and comedy. I am curious if you will do episodes where you rank arcs/characters that you have met so far. Also, can't name best girl till you meet BH, which totally does not stand for
Boa Hancock.
Well, I don't. If
Boa Hancock
names
is
of characters, unless they're like a spoiler in themselves, I don't think is a big deal. Like, if it's the
Oh
name
no,
of a
this random name is a spoiler.
unless, like, I don't know, fucking Luffy's real name is Hancock.
Oh, man.
The D stands for Hancock, boys. Anyway, the point is that
Okay.
a lot of people talk about best girls and waifus, and those are two different concepts, by the way. So far, Nami's definitely been my best girl, but slowly I'm warming up to the idea of her being a waifu as well. But that's in terms of like her character. In terms of just like hotness, like I said, Miss Doublefinger, Alvida post Fruit or Devil Fruit, and Lady Hina. They seem very appetizing.
I called out early in like the first or second episode of this podcast as that Robin was gonna take your heart away. We haven't seen enough of her yet. She's just about to join.
I mean, I feel like you can't judge Robin until Enna's lobby.
I agree.
So Robin is mysterious and intriguing, but so far she's not. Yeah, I don't know enough about her to be that interested in her. And just in terms of design, I prefer some of the other designs aesthetically to Robin's.
Maybe she's too old for you. She's the oldest Straw Hat.
Can never be
right
too
now,
old
I
for
think.
Animac.
Yeah, I don't think you've met me, Jimmy, because
This is why Animac likes interspecies reviewers, okay? Because he agrees with the elf.
okay,
Meet my son.
that's a gilf, bro. Okay, I draw the line.
Anyway,
I draw the line in
moving
milf.
on. Next review. Virgin Time, 5 stars. So glad that Animac with the C is finally understanding the greatness of One Piece. I too am a virgin, completely caught up. So me, Animac with his C, truly relate on a deep philosophical level. Also, Nux and Briggs, 5 stars. Thank you very much. I don't think you know what virgin means, but I do appreciate.
I
Oh,
think he had two unrelated thoughts that he threw together.
All right, next review. Where are the Animac t-shirts? 5 stars.
Good point.
This is definitely the best podcast I've ever heard since I've always wanted to talk about One Piece with someone else, but I don't have any friends, so this podcast fills the void in my soul. Well, that's dark.
I wish he had said I don't have any friends that watch One Piece, which I don't have any friends.
I was waiting for that, but it was don't have any friends. Period.
Oh, that hurts.
I mean, that's gotta suck if you're a fan of One Piece and One Piece is all about friends and you don't have any friends.
It pretty much sucks in general, even if you don't like One Piece.
It's an
I don't know.
escape. The Straw Hats can be your friends. That's what it's for.
Some
Chase
people,
your dreams, my dude. Come up
some
with some
people like being
crazy
alone.
ambition.
But Chad like Briggs.
Yeah, I feel like me and Nami would start off as friends, but like,
And
it
she'd
would.
rob you in your sleep, and she hated you all along. Yes.
No, she would rob me in my sleep, but then I would just be more intrigued by her, and eventually it would turn into more than friends.
Moving on. I love that Nux and Briggs and Animac, I guess, are all really passionate about One Piece. And I really look forward to this podcast every week. Also, I heard that Animac is giving out free shirts, but I can't find them anywhere. Can I get one? This is from Animac's t-shirts.
Yeah, well, you know what, guys? From now on, Nux is gonna be giving out free T-shirts.
Oh shit! Really? I could use one. Hook me up.
Yeah, no problem, Jimmy.
What is it? freeshirts.com/nuxtaku.
There we go. All right, next review. Nami is still best girl, 5 stars. This podcast literally came at the perfect time because I just started maybe a month before the podcast. I'm midway through Thriller Bark. Oh, I said the name of an arc. Everyone in the comments are gonna be like,
Uh-oh!
All right, all right.
How dare you,
This is
bastards.
already
Hold
my
on.
top 10, and this is already top 10 anime for me. This podcast helps me with much understanding. What? This podcast helped me so much with understanding what I just watched a bit more, especially when binging 345 episodes in 3 months. And you all just make it so much better. Also, stop talking about Robin and Alvita because we know that Nami is the true queen. This is from IKSJSNDL.
I
Slapped
don't
his
disagree, man. But I want to everyone in the chat who's calling me a simp. Fuck you guys. Okay. I'm not a simp for Nami. I think that she is a very useful character and a very important character. I'm not like, oh, Nami, I'll do anything for you, even if you don't even acknowledge me.
I think it's
I'm
because
like,
you said if
Dude,
she
it's
robbed
so
you,
funny.
you want to date her more.
Yeah, but because she just robbed me to get my attention, bro. Like, you know how girls work.
No, that's not how it works. Oh my god.
Oh, really?
See,
Because
Nami has like these super ingenious plans how she's robbing everyone, and then she just meets Animac. Animac just gives her his money.
yeah, and would that not make me memorable in her eyes? Because you're like everyone
Very
else. like,
memorable. As the
complain
easiest
about
heist she's ever pulled off.
And just look, man. She started off as betraying and robbing the Straw Hats, and ended up being BFFs with them. So you know, I know how Nami works.
Here's a trick question. What is the ship of Animac and Nami have in common with Luffy versus Crocodile? Crocodile robs Luffy of his liquids. Anyway, moving on. Next review. Absolutely the best podcast tied with the Rant Cafe. 5 stars. As someone who's gotten into One Piece within the past 9 months, I'm in Dressrosa at the moment. I love hearing the podcast every Tuesday night. Animac is finally popping his cherry. Nux and Briggs are almost spoiling everything, and it's overall a ton of fun.
Jimmy's on the spoiler
glad
team now. It's great.
Oh, I think
Hell yeah.
sarcastically spoiling things that he has no idea what I'm talking about is the funniest thing I could possibly do.
No, yeah, I think that's totally fine if I don't know the context. It's not really a spoiler.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
But-
this fake this sarcastic spoiler, bro. Sanji doesn't die. Wink, wink.
Yeah. Or even if it's like,
Oh no!
even
No
if it was
fun.
something that you said, like there was one spoiler that was pretty big that you said, but like, yo, in 17 episodes of the One Piece podcast, when he finally sees what happened, he's gonna be like, oh, Jimmy made a funny joke a year and a half ago.
It's not that I spoiled the show, it's that it's a punchline, but he doesn't know the setup yet.
Yeah,
so
so
he has to wait until
it's
he
me-
understands
it's
the joke.
meaningless.
Yeah, I'm not that sensitive. And also, at the end of the day, like I know we try to avoid spoilers, but yo, One Piece has been going on for 20 years. The fact that I'm not,
Yeah.
the fact that I'm not caught up is my fault. It's not someone else's fault.
Acts. Anyway, I'm glad Animac is enjoying it because it truly is an amazing adventure. The only thing that would make this podcast better is if I understood Zoro.
After this
Although-
arc, I have to join the I don't understand Zoro team, bro.
Also, this is really random, but thank you for having seen Orange. Best podcast ever.
Orange. I don't
Next
even know what that
review.
is.
I've seen Orange. It was okay.
Orange
Oh,
is like a shoujo anime,
It's a
right?
time travel shoujo.
Oh, I remember. I watched a couple episodes of that.
Pretty meh. Anyway, no offense to anyone who likes Orange, it's just not my cup of tea. Next review, Apex Virgins, 5 stars. I just want to say, Apex Virgins anytime soon, and keep doing your thing. Nux, Flex, Taku, All Chad's Anime, and Goes In's brother. And I already read that last week. So
All right, so that's the end of the
Yeah,
reviews.
so those are all the reviews. Thank you guys for reading the reviews and rating the podcast. That helps us a lot. And
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I'm really enjoying One Piece right now. This was a great arc. I'm also getting more into the waifu aesthetics of One Piece, highly underrated aspect of it. And I'm excited. I'm excited for more. Thank you guys for joining me. Jimmy, Simeon, Jimmy. Jimmy's links will be in the description. By the way, what's your Twitter? You can call it out here at.
Oh yeah, I'm just Simeon Jimmy on Twitter and YouTube.
Cool.
Yeah, so check that out. And of course,
My videos are kind of like Nux's videos, but if Nux's videos weren't funny or interesting, that's my niche.
Get out of here.
Bro, I didn't realize you had a channel still. So like I didn't link it in the last one, but
yeah,
then
I didn't realize-
I found out later and I started watching your videos and like some of them were like 45 minutes, an hour long, and I was watching them all. It was great.
yeah,
like,
I didn't realize you had a channel, and then I watched like a video on your channel where it was like, here's why this guy that tweeted at me bitching about my independent film festival is wrong.
Yeah.
So you are like Nux, but a lot more specific.
Yeah, some of your old films were fucking gems. Like they
Oh,
were
thank you,
cringe,
thank you.
but they were gems.
That's I try to be the cringiest gem I can be.
Hell
Big
yeah.
Steven Universe fan over here.
Animac,
Not
someone made fan art of me, and I felt like I have to share it with you. It's in the Rant Cafe Discord.
Okay.
It'll give you nightmares.
By the way, someone said, would I rank One Piece over Gurren Lagann? I wouldn't rank anything over Gurren Lagann just because I love it so much. But what I love about Gurren Lagann is specifically Kamina, the character, and his philosophy. So it's not that I'm saying that Gurren Lagann in general has better characters or whatever, but Kamina, I just like stan him so hard that it's not even fair to any other anime.
Mac, what do you think of the fan art? I think we should show.
Oh
them
yeah, I
one.
saw one tweet of this. Oh, this is so I'm always compared to Kakyoin from Stardust Crusaders because of my respect for attractive moms. and then someone made a fan art of Taku, what he would look like if he was Jotaro's mom.
As Kira's wife.
No,
That's
this is Jotaro's
or
mom.
Kira's wife. I don't pay attention to the MILFs. I am clearly uncultured.
This is Jotaro's mom, man, not Kira's wife. Get it right.
You're right. Kira's wife is hotter.
Of course. Although that tat on Jotaro's mom naked back. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us. And we'll see you again next week. Check us out if you want to watch live, by the way. I just want to shout that out. You can check us out at twitch.tv/rantcafe or rantcafe.tv. It's very fun. We do a bit before we go live. Before we start the podcast, we do a bit of chit-chat and talk to you guys in the chat. It's a lot of fun. And until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys.
Bang!
Boonga!